All right, let's start with Nebraska at Indiana. I took, it's undefeated Indiana. They've been a wagon against the spread. They've been putting teams away late. I had to take Nebraska catching 7 here. Just on a numbers play alone. I mean, look, if Nebraska, you change a couple plays in the Illinois game, that ridiculous interception, the overtime. This is 6-0 Nebraska. They're getting just as much hype as Indiana against 6-0 Indiana. Both teams coming off of a bye. Look, I mean, the most likely outcome to me here is Indiana wins a close game because what does Nebraska do? All they do is lose close games. Their special teams will probably lose it for them. Indiana special teams have been really good, but this will be the best defense by far Indiana has faced. They haven't faced the top 50 team yet, and Nebraska's arguably top 25 team in the country. And I still have some questions about this Indiana defense, right? They did give up 28 to Maryland and 400 plus yards. Northwestern was able to move the ball on them. So I think you have to take the points. I think this line should be closer to like 4.5. I think Indiana has proven that they deserve to be power rated higher, but not significantly higher than Nebraska. So I think the inflation has hit the market on the Hoosiers. I'm taking Nebraska and Mr. Matt Rule. I mentioned underdogs, coaches that have been good as underdogs. Since 2005, out of 595 coaches, Rule, fifth most profitable as an underdog, 35-18 and one against the spread, 66% covering by 4.5 points per game. That includes 19-9 on the road, just under 68%. Give me Corn in Bloomington. I don't know if you disagree or not, but I think that I think I saw you put in a bet on Indiana first quarter. Is that your angle here?
Yeah, it is. I think Nebraska at this number at 6.5 or 7, I think is a good bet. I make this game Indiana -2. The problem is the strength of schedules on these two teams. You don't really know what the ceiling and the floor is for the two of these teams. And I think that is why I'm going to watch this, with very detailed and just put a small bit in on an angle that I really liked. And I think one of the angles is Signetti is fantastic off of a bye week, dating back to his FCS days as a head coach of Elon and James Madison. Signetti's only lost one game off of a bye week, and that was to Louisville in 2022 when he was at James Madison. So there's no shame in that because Louisville was, much better than James Madison in those days. So that's the only time Signetti's ever lost after a bye week. And Nebraska, they've been balanced with moderate success rate, rush and pass, but the strength of schedule 117th, you really kind of wonder, why is pass blocking 74th? Why does Dylan Raiola's turnover worthy play rate go from up to 4.5% when he gets pressure in the pocket? And why are you getting pressure in the pocket with that kind of schedule? And Nebraska has not been very good in offensive finishing drives. They've had 42 drives get in past the 40-yard line. That's great so far, but they've only averaged 3.2 points per trip. So they're 100th in red zone efficiency too. So just not getting it done when they need to get it done, which is why Indiana's favored here. But I definitely see Corn keeping it close. When you go schematically with the Hoosiers on offense, like Curtis Rourke just running zone read has just been fantastic so far, inside, outside zone. Tyson Lawton, Justice Ellis, they've combined for 13 rushing TDs. So far, the Indiana offense has just been a train. But again, strength of schedule is pretty soft. We don't know how good they are. But the other reason that I like Indiana enough to where I'm probably going to find a way to parlay them on the money line, there's a massive special teams difference here. Massive. SP Plus says Indiana is the number one team overall in special teams, and then Nebraska is 129. That's probably going to come into this game at some point. And finally, yes, Indiana in the first quarter is the bet that I made on the money line. Indiana has not allowed a single point in the first quarter this entire season. I'm going to roll with that here. I will find a way to get some Indiana parlays in, but I agree. Nebraska is the play all the way down to about 3.5 or 3.
My prediction, Nebraska's up 4 late, kicking a field goal to go up 7, push it right. Indiana comes down and scores the game-winning touchdown. That would be the most Nebraska ending possible. All right, let's move on to our second. And by the way, if Indiana wins this game, that college football playoff talk's really going to pick up. Earlier in the week, we were talking college football playoff field and I was going through the Big Ten teams, I didn't even mention Indiana. I got a couple messages from Indiana fans. I apologize.